come once again to discuss things.
Yeah, my man robbed the store during the day.
Well, I mean, like, the whole investigation just happened at the cops
I know. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sydpart2. Joining me today is Steve Baxi. Hello, Steve Baxi.
Hello, Ian. What's up?
Oh, you know, we're gonna be working on this top 10 episode that we've been teasing for, like, months now.
Yeah, well, it takes time to watch the show, people.
Yeah, totally. Even, like, I think I power through shows really quick. I think you go through a little bit faster than me, but still.
I mean, there's only so much you can do if it takes 13 hours.
Right? So yeah, we're going to be talking about The Batman. We're going to be doing our top 10 episodes of The Batman. It's not like each of us are going to have 10. We each have 5 in an honorable mention, and we might end up switching things as we go just because.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're gonna get like each of our top 5s, and hopefully that creates an appropriate top 10 list.
Cool. Yeah. It'll be more scattershot than you might expect. That's mostly just because I feel like there's gonna be lots of crossover that we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here. So Steve, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Okay. So at the very bottom of my list right now is the episode from season 4 called RPM.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know that one. That's interesting.
Yeah. I really like RPM. I really like the idea of Batman being a gearhead.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a great comic by Matt Wagner where he does stuff like that, and I really enjoy that. But more than that, part of why I enjoy this episode so much is that it's so tongue-in-cheek about everything. Like, I think this is the perfect statement of the flavor of this show, where it's dark in places, but it's really techno in other places, and it's mostly like a blend of Silver Age and Bronze Age.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. Some of the things I like about that episode are it's a neat thing to have an excuse to give him a better Batmobile. Like, you know, Batman's always got to be ahead of everybody. He's kind of got, like, that ultimate envy thing. Like, you know, he's the rich kid that cannot have anyone have anything better than him.
Yeah.
And that part of it's really fun. I don't really care for the villain in it, though.
The villain's dumb, but I kind of like that about it, because he's voiced by the guy that plays Batman Beyond.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
so, like, there are very weird moments in the dialogue of that episode where he's, like, referencing things from that show, and it's hilarious.
I didn't notice that. Does he say, like, slag at any point?
He doesn't say that. He does use certain slang from that show, though, here and there, because he's, like, half nanomachine. So, like, he's got an already kind of 10 years in the future vibe to him.
Yeah, it's weird how the science and stuff works in this show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you'll just have, like, these things happening, and they never really, like, I watched through this a couple years back, and I guess I just wasn't thinking about it, but so much of this is just really, really out there sci-fi that does, I agree, feel very Silver Age at points.
Yeah, and I appreciate that about it. I like that it's very much a different thing than animated series.
Mm-hmm, because that had that, like, retro future thing where this is very, very futurist.
Yeah, like, animated series is really, like, German expressionist kind of in style, and this is completely, utterly comic book sci-fi.
Yeah, so I don't know, I like that episode too. I did actually consider putting it on. I like things about that episode, I guess, more than I like that episode.
That's
personally.
fair. I just have a ball watching it. It's just a lot of fun.
It's weird, because didn't animated series do a whole thing about how Batman gets his cars?
I don't think so. Did it?
I'm pretty sure there's an episode where, like, you know, he brings his, like, beat up Batmobile that was, like, kind of from the olden days, early Batman comics, where it looks kind of like a Buick with a bat shield or battering ram on the front, and he, like, brings it to some guy's garage because it's beat to hell. You don't remember that at all?
Maybe. I know there's a comic where, like, Batman has people that he goes to repair his Batmobile that are there in secret.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. It feels really vaguely familiar, but I can't place it.
Yeah, I know it's original animated series, not New Adventures, but yeah, so it's interesting how we get, those explanations for how Batman gets his car and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just as good as in the comics when you have Harold, who just, shows up and fixes things back in the old days.
Oh, yeah. That was so long ago now.
I miss Harold. He gets shot in the face by Hush.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to mine then. So my number 5 is Ring Toss.
Nice.
Yeah, there are things I like about this episode, but ultimately I don't. This isn't an episode I like so much as there are a lot of things I like in it. They really get Hal Jordan and just Green Lantern in general down fairly well, at least for this era of animation.
Yeah, because that episode came out in 2007.
Yeah, no, it's season 5, so it should be 2008.
Okay, so it's right around the time Jeff Johns is doing his thing.
Yeah, and so it gets that Hal Jordan is cool. It just gets things about the character that I really quite enjoy. Like Dick Grayson has that moment where he meets Hal in the Batcave, and he goes, "Oh my God, I know you probably get this question all the time, but if you and Superman," and Batman keeps telling him to go back to his room or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, all right, fine. Yeah, I better get flying home to Coast City anyway. I gotta catch a plane." He's like, "Why do you need a plane?" "Oh, in my day job, I'm a test pilot." Even your day job is cool. Just things like that I really like, and they get, it's really subtle, the details we get about Sinestro, but they kind of get what I think Sinestro should be, which is to say, instead of just like a dictator and stuff on his own planet, I would kind of like that information about Sinestro to come out after he's been ousted from the Green Lantern Corps. I kind of want Sinestro to build his Corps out of a coup of the Green Lantern Corps.
I get you, yeah. That would make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and they kind of hint that that's what he tried to do.
Right.
Like to overthrow the Guardians in a coup kind of situation.
Well, actually, Green Lantern the Animated Series was building to more of that.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's just, we don't get much. Get one episode with Sinestro, and he's awesome in it.
It's such a good episode, yeah.
Right. So yeah, Ring Toss, I like those things about it quite a bit. You get Batman briefly with the Green Lantern ring. That's really cool. Though there are significant problems with the episode.
That's fair.
That mainly being Penguin.
Penguin is used way too fucking much in this show. That's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, like I say, I think this show way overuses Penguin and Joker. Like I say, for those that were interested and you want to go look up my Twitter account and stuff, I kept track, as I watched through this series, how many times the Joker and Penguin showed up for an extended period of time, and it's 26 episodes total. Which, that doesn't sound like a lot, but each season is 13 episodes.
You could build an entire season with just them.
You can build 2 seasons and then some change with just them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
And then even that's not counting times that they just show up briefly. So yeah, 26 episodes is crazy. But yeah, Penguin shows up in this, and then he's using the Green Lantern ring, and apparently the only reason he can't use it very well is because it's almost out of juice. And I really don't like that. Because, there's honestly no excuse for that, because even in the comics, no one else was able to use that ring just, willy-nilly.
Yeah. The whole worthiness thing goes out the window with that.
Yeah, and, it's weird because Sinestro has that line where he's like, you lack the willpower and intelligence to operate it properly. I'm like, no, he seems to be doing perfectly well. It just needs some more juice. When Batman does, it's a problem because I really like that Batman gets to use the ring, but the fact that Penguin's so easily able to use it kind of diminishes that scene as well.
Well, that's partly why I like the Brave and the Bold episodes with the Green Lanterns, where he can't use the rings, but they're able to, power him up.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a very different kind of relationship between the Green Lanterns and Batman, and he's not better just because he's Batman.
Certainly, and I don't know, I'm not sure if I love the characterization of Hal Jordan here, because he's just kind of really cool with Batman. Whereas, I love just Hal Jordan or just any Green Lantern and Batman really just being the best comedy duo of all time.
I do really like the voice actor.
Yeah, he does good.
I forget his name, but I do like him.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that, it's weird, I like this episode, but I mainly have complaints. Another thing that bothers me is Hal doesn't make any constructs. It's just laser beams, damn it. That always bugs me. I mean,
that's always a problem, though, right? Like even in Justice League, the animated series.
That's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
John Stewart makes beams and bubbles.
Yeah. No, it's really irritating. That's partly why I wish we'd get more Kyle Rayner in animation, because he's an artist and he's just designed to be more creative than that.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch that Superman animated series episode with him. That's weird because they blend him with Hal Jordan at that point.
They do. It's not a great episode, but I like Kyle Rayner a lot. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like this episode quite a bit. It's just neat. They get some things tonally right that just really work for me. So I can't not love it because I'm a Green Lantern fan. So it's fun to see. I don't think we'd ever seen just Batman and Green Lantern hanging out before this, so that was neat too.
I don't think we have either. Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's just why I really like that episode. But it is really high up on my list. How about you? What's our number 9 on the list going to be? Your number 4.
All right, my number 4 is the season 5 episode, "The End of Batman," which is the episode with Wrath and Scorn.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I really like this episode. I love the idea of Wrath and Scorn, and I think they don't get nearly enough to do in the comics, so having them in animation just by itself is a good novelty. And I also really like the way this episode's animated. I think on a technical level, the way this episode's built is really interesting, because in the old Golden Age comics, you'd have like a great artistic dynamic between Batman and Robin fighting, and you slowly lose that over time because people stop caring about that part of the comic. But in this episode, when Wrath and Scorn and Batman and Robin are trying to take each other out, it looks really good. It's actually a really well-choreographed fight, and they have some interesting dynamics between them. They don't really do the whole Wrath and Scorn or 100% the opposites of Batman thing, but I almost feel like they could have built to that if they had another episode.
Yeah, I didn't actually really care for them that much, or just that episode in general. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, I just got kind of bored with it after a while, and then they do that really clunky ending to make sure that, people don't know Bruce Wayne is Batman. I like that the Joker protects Batman's secret identity, but I just, it's so shoehorned in at the last possible second.
That's fair. I think they tried to throw too much into one episode for that.
It would have been better if it were a two-parter, I think.
Yeah, kind of like the Clayface two-parter for the end of the first season. Like maybe just end a season on Wrath and Scorn.
Yeah, that would have worked.
Or build them like they built Hugo Strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, that is the other problem. It's like, this is a really clunky thing that always seems to happen in the comics, where Bruce Wayne's childhood friend that we've never heard of before just shows up. And it's like, oh, we have all these great memories together, except you don't.
Yeah, that's fair. That's just something I kind of learned to live with in places. As long as they don't try to make it a mystery, I don't mind as much.
So Hush is the exception, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like that part I found really clunky, because if we'd seen that, even if it had been more subtle, even if we'd just seen the character design, like the character models in the background every so often or something, that would have worked better. But there's no lead up to them at all, and that bugs me too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Those later seasons had quite a bit of that, because there's the Everywhere Man episode did that too.
Yeah, it did. And Everywhere Man was voiced by Brandon Routh. I think another thing about those later seasons is that they got a lot of guest voice stars in.
Mm-hmm.
Which was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, that episode, there are things I appreciate about it, but yeah, it doesn't work too well for me. But
I think it's fair to say at this point that I like the show a lot more than Ian does.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're clear on that for people.
Oh, certainly, and my thing with this show has always been, it's a good show overall, but it has a lot of stupid things every so often in it. But when it does something right, it does it so damn right that you gotta love it.
We'll get to some of those best of episodes in a minute. There's a couple episodes here that I would say are some of the best Batman stories of all time.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. But then you have other stuff that really bugs the crap out of me, and I just can't accept.
That's fair.
So we'll get into it.
Cool.
No, just to say, the Batman is better than Smallville. It's just the Smallville of Batman, in my opinion, at least.
Okay, that's fair. I like this show more than I like animated series, but I know that's fighting words for a lot of people.
That is fighting words.
I think it's a better show, but okay.
Ow. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. So I cheated, like right off the bat. I cheated, Steve. Get it, Bat, because Batman. I cheated and I put a two-parter as my number 4. It's the Rubberface Comedy Clayface and Tragedy. It's so well done. I love it to death, and it doesn't work unless you watch both of them. So
no, that's totally fair. I had a feeling someone was going to pick that eventually. I am so surprised we haven't had Ethan Bennett in the comics yet.
Yeah, he's like the best Clayface.
He is easily my favorite Clayface, and he is the thing that no matter what your opinion of this show, it's the one thing everyone agrees is genius.
Yeah, and then like honestly, the show kind of ruins him later on as they introduce the Clayface too. I mean, to be fair, there are multiple Clayfaces in the comics, so they're not on, unprecedented ground by introducing another Clayface, but still, it's just so, like, even beyond that, they just ruin all the interesting things they were doing with Bennett's character by introducing another Clayface. And so that, and not just by introducing him, but by how they have him interact, and it just kind of, it doesn't ruin, but it kind of stomps on a lot of the things that they did right with this opening two-parter. They did so much to build him up. They did so much with this character that I just found absolutely fascinating. And I remember being legitimately surprised by this turn the first time I watched through this show. I did not see it coming at all.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because, like, I love that moment where Bruce is like, I'm going to bring Bennett into the fold, and I'm going to tell him I'm Batman, and we're going to be partners. And then instead of that, Bennett is lost to him, and Yin becomes his partner. I absolutely adored that twist of it.
It's kind of tragic, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Clayface of Tragedy is the name of the episode, and it's not just like a fun little turn on something the Joker says earlier. It is legitimately tragic, and that's awesome.
It's also, at this point, the closest thing we had to a Killing Joke adaptation.
Yeah.
With that first part.
Well, yeah, I haven't played Arkham Origins yet, so.
Well, Arkham Origins came out much later.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I was going to say, it still is until, like, next month.
Yeah, it still is until about next month, yeah.
No, but Arkham Origins did it, and we also had it a little bit in Arkham Knight, from what I understand, so.
A little bit, yeah. Just like flashbacks and stuff.
But
yeah, it is really cool to have that moment there, and I really like how they played up Ian's mind going nuts. Like it's not just like a one bad day. We are seeing Chief Rojas getting more and more agitated throughout the season, riding him harder and harder, and then you have the chemical mixture from Joker's putty, and it all makes a whole lot more sense than just one snap of his mind and it's crazy. Like it's all built really, really well.
Yeah, totally, and it works so well. It's at a carnival. The Joker he almost legitimately says one bad day. He stops just short because I don't think they wanted to cut a check to Alan Moore.
I forget what he says exactly. It's something like one rotten day?
All it takes is one rotten day.
Yeah, something like that.
And honestly, I almost like that a little bit more just because it just sounds more Joker, especially this Joker.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about, I love his performance.
I do too. I think he's fantastic.
I still like Hamill's performance of the Joker more, and this is fighting words. This version of the Joker is better written than the animated series.
I absolutely agree. I think they are far more consistent with this version than they are with animated series.
Oh, totally. No denying that whatsoever. This version is out there just to cause chaos and havoc. And, like, there are times where he's a little inconsistent. Like, maybe he wants to kill Batman, maybe he doesn't. But it's never as big an issue as it is with animated series. Because there's, like, one time when I think they really, really, really write the Joker well in animated series. And, like, that gets blown away by some of the episodes they do with this.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. I think part of it is this Joker is, from his very inception, a jester. And so, like, even if there are some inconsistencies here and there, it's more of just, like, this guy trying to be entertaining or getting bored.
Yeah.
And I like tracking his progress through the series, because he doesn't have a character arc because he's just one of the villains that's recurring. But you can really map out his and Batman's relationship, and it's not the thing you get in the comics all the time of, like, overly serious, one side of the same coin kind of thing. It's really just Joker likes screwing around, and Batman keeps trying to stop him. And by that very nature, they're ruining the city and building a dependence on each other. And it's all just implicit. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and just even beyond that, like, one thing Paul Dini, even though I don't like his approach to the Joker, I still think he has a very good voice for the Joker as far as, like, writing dialogue and stuff. But even that gets blown away by some of the writing that this Joker gets. Like, he has a catchphrase for a little bit. I'm sad that they drop it off, but he has that "I'm hilarious" catchphrase. I just love that.
I like that too.
Yeah, it's such a little thing, and then they drop it, and I'm sad. But even when we get bad episodes, it's still so much like I said, they way overuse him in this. But I almost can't complain because he's always so well written. Like, one of my worst episodes of this series is I think they call it Brawn or something. It's the one where where he steals Bane's gimmick. I really don't like that episode because there is legitimately no reason it could not be Bane.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Bane got one episode in this entire series. He shows up twice, but that's it. Like, he shows up 2 other times after his one episode in season 1. Yeah. And that was it.
He's always just kind of there as a punchline after that.
Yeah, and so I really didn't like that it couldn't be Bane again. But even then, like, when Joker's all baned up and he's throwing Batman around and he goes, "Now give me your milk money, Batsy." You can't help but laugh. That's really well done.
It is. I really like this Joker. I love the voice actor. And it's annoying that a lot of fans just throw this Joker out with the bathwater just because they don't like the design.
Yeah,
like, they don't give it a chance beyond the look.
I'm not crazy about it. I don't even like... I think most of the designs of this show are problematic at best.
I think they're hit and miss, but I do like a lot of them, and I don't like a lot of them pretty equal.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so anyway, that's the Rubberface Comedy, Clayface Tragedy. It gets the Joker's method of thinking down perfectly. It gets... It shows you what Batman is fighting against, because it's one of those things where, like, Batman's always going out to fight against the Joker, and he just always wins. Then why is the Joker a threat? You need him to lose something, and it needs to be a personal loss. He doesn't necessarily have to lose the city. The Joker doesn't have to blow up Gotham or whatever, but it needs to be something personal that really affects Batman, because it makes Batman more human. It makes the Joker more of a monster. And you can get some really great mileage out of it. You know, we talked about Last Laugh a couple months ago, and just, it's fantastic to see how tortured Barbara Gordon is in that. And, you know, I'm a little disappointed we don't get to, like, one of the episodes we see Oracle, and so I'm a little disappointed we don't get to see the creation of Oracle with this Joker, because that might have just been too dark for him, but I would have been curious how they pulled it off.
Yeah, there's some perspective issues with that I'd want to talk about. Just not as a problem, but just like, I wonder what the animators were thinking at that point when they did the Oracle thing in Artifacts.
But yeah, I love Rubberface Comedy, Clayface Tragedy.
Nice. Okay. What are we up to? Number 3?
Wait, you did RPM and what else?
I did RPM and the End of Batman.
Okay, yeah, so we're at number 3 then.
Okay.
On you.
Alright, my next one is The Breakout.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's the Black Mask episode where Batgirl and Robin are hanging out inside GCPD and trying to take out Black Mask.
Totally.
I really like this episode. I hate the fact that this is like one of the only adaptations of Black Mask outside of the comics and the only one that gets any character.
I don't know, I liked him in Under the Red Hood.
I like him in Under the Red Hood too, but like there's Under the Red Hood, there's 2 appearances in the Arkham games, and in the Arkham games he's completely shafted. And then he's nowhere else.
I'm disappointed by that.
Yeah, it bugs me. He's such a good character, and we don't use him anywhere.
You know, it was funny, we were talking about Justice League vs. Teen Titans the other day, and I talked about watching Bad Blood and Batman vs. Robin. They just throw a Black Mask origin into Batman Bad Blood out of nowhere.
I know, it's really dumb.
But yeah, I really do like The Breakout. I'm going to switch it out now, but one of my, what was going to be my honorable mention was The Breakout.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, I really love Black Mask in this. He's a frickin' Bond villain, dude.
He is. He's great. I also like that they make it so that his lips don't move, because he's actually wearing a mask. He's got like an echoey voice.
Yeah, and it's... Black Mask is so weird in the comics. I don't know if you've read his, like, original run and origin in the comics or not.
Not in a long time.
Okay. Like, it is originally a mask that looks nothing like a skull, and then he gets trapped in a house that's caught on fire, and Batman manages to get him out, but not before the mask melts to his face, and so it just, like, he gets 4th degree burns, but his skin is, like, permanently charred black.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that's why he's got a skull for a face. Black Mask were ever on trial, he should be immediately convicted because he has a skull for a face. He is obviously a bad guy.
Yeah, no, he's great visually. I like the voice actor a lot. Most of why I like this episode is I think Batgirl and Robin's dynamic is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think they were really ahead of their time on Batgirl, because the way she's written here is basically how she was written when she got, like, that rebranding. Like, when they gave her the new costume and moved her out and kind of, like... I forget who wrote that run, but, like, it's the latest stuff in the comics now where she's got that really awesome costume that Spider-Woman took later. It's essentially this version of Batgirl, and I like how her and Dick Grayson have a rivalry going.
Yeah, like, they're just trying to be the better sidekick kind of thing, and then, like, they neither one of them feels like they get anything to do.
Yeah, and I like that both characters have about equal screen time. Like, Batgirl shows up 1 season earlier, so she's a more of a character than Dick Grayson is. But by the time you get to season 4 and 5, they're not, like, one isn't overshadowing the other, I don't think.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know if I'd agree with that, because Dick seems to get more episodes once he shows up, and, like, people always complain about that, but it's just a legal thing, because DC wouldn't let them use Robin yet, because Teen Titans was still going.
Yeah, and that's the thing with their Robin, is that they just recycle the design from Teen Titans, except for the hair. That's, like, the one thing they change, is the hair.
Yeah, but no, I do agree. I really, really quite like, the Breakout episode. Just Black Mask, you know, it's a kid's show, so you can't really do the whole torture thing, but they give little subtle hints.
Yeah.
That I quite like. Like when Batman is left in a cage, number 1 says, Black Mask will be back to deal with you personally. And then when Black Mask is, like, threatening Batgirl and Robin, he goes, they'll peel you like a grape. Those are very torture-y images.
No, they are. You're absolutely right. I also like the idea of number 1 a lot. I like that it's by future creator. I like that Black Mask would have, like, a rotating top guy.
Yeah, it's just like, until you screw up, you're my new number 1.
Yeah. And it's exactly like you said. It's a Bond villain type thing. It's his signature henchman.
Yeah, and I really quite like that. He's just, I control a vast organization. I'm not an Arkham freak, but for some reason he gets locked up in Arkham. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I really, really like a lot of the stuff they do with Black Mask in that episode. And then they use him, you know, a couple times after that, but
he shows up
not really.
Basically just as, like, background cannon fodder, like most of the villains. Because there's a couple of episodes here and there where, like, there's a ton of villains there just to say that there's a ton of villains.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool when Batman and Robin take down the whole Rogues Gallery and Rumors, but, you know, he gets the Hawkman episode, which is kind of Yeah. And then he's also in the Batman Superman one briefly too.
He's just there as like the opening stinger for that one, I think, right?
No, he shoots Superman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He shoots Superman with the red solar radiation or whatever.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So like, I mean, it's kind of cool at times, but I don't know. He doesn't get used really, really well again, and with such a strong opening episode, that is a bit disappointing.
Which is
this show really should have gotten another season.
I think so, too. I think part of the problem with this show is it had a very clear identity in the first couple seasons, and the more the bat embargo lifted, the less the show started to work because it just started to mimic animated series.
What is the bat embargo?
Bat embargo was basically just in the early 2000s because DC was constantly getting new pitches for Batman movies. Animators weren't allowed to use certain characters, so you couldn't get Ra's al Ghul past the initial Batman animated series. You couldn't get. There were a lot of characters thrown on that list. Like you couldn't use Robin for a long time. You couldn't use. Who else was it? Like, there's some really big famous villains on there. Like, we stopped using Catwoman because of it. We stopped using Commissioner Gordon for a while because of it.
Well, I know they couldn't use Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul because of that.
Yeah, Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul they couldn't use because of that. I think there was a thing where, like, they wanted to use Nightwing in this show. Like, they wanted to just bring in Nightwing, but they couldn't. They had to go through and do the Robin thing first, and then they had to wait forever to do Robin in the first place.
Yeah.
And then Teen Titans had the same issue. Like, the Teen Titans TV series changed a lot from the comics, mostly because they couldn't get away with stuff from the comics. Like, they weren't allowed to call Slade Deathstroke, which makes enough sense, but at the same time, they couldn't use comic book Hive, so they completely altered what Hive was. They couldn't use Kid Flash for more than a couple episodes, and they're bringing him in much later. So that's part of why this show felt so limited at first, but I think that's also why it worked at first.
Yeah, it's that backed into a corner, so you have to be more creative thing, isn't it?
Exactly. And the more freedom they got, the less I started to like it. The last season's basically Justice League and Brave and the Bold. Yeah,
and some of their stuff I like more, other stuff not so much. It is a really hit and miss thing by the last season, and I wish they could have gotten one more to like redeem themselves or something.
I also just wish they weren't confined to the 13-episode seasons.
Yeah, those do get really short, don't they?
Because Hugo Strange is a big threat for a few seasons, but I feel like he should have just gotten one 26-episode set.
Yeah, I agree. Because he just kind of goes away at a certain point, and he's like not really a threat anymore until the aliens show up.
Yeah, until you get to the joining.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know.
Your next one, your number 3?
Artifacts.
Nice.
No surprise there.
Yeah.
It's Dark Knight Returns. It's got Oracle in it. Just because I can't resist, I'm actually not going to talk about the show for just a couple minutes here. I'm going to talk about something that this episode brings up that I found really, really fascinating, just as a general concept.
Sure.
And that is how much bullshit archaeology and history are.
I know, I loved that. I love that they get everything wrong. Literally everything.
It's like you always hear people talk about, oh, well, we believe blah, 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 based on this. I'm like, that's so circumstantial. You could never hope to prove that in a court of law.
I know, it's hilarious.
She goes, oh, well, this estate belonged to Thomas Wayne. So Thomas Wayne was the Batman, his wife Martha Wayne was the Batwoman, and their son Bruce was the Red Robin. I'm like, oh my god, you just got so much wrong there. It's awesome.
It's hilarious that they got...
It's like, and they go, oh, this wheelchair must have belonged to Alfred Pennyworth. And then we see Barbara in it. It's like, holy shit, we have legit Oracle. Like, when they first say Oracle, I'm like, okay, they're probably just going to have her, you know, she isn't in costume anymore or whatever because she wants to be safer or something. They're not going to do the wheelchair, and then they do the wheelchair. I'm like, holy fucking shit!
I love the way this episode is structured because it does so much to play with your expectations. Like, you get to the Batcave, they get everything wrong, and then they pull off the drape, and you are expecting to see like the new Batmobile, but it's the tank, and then you cut to Dark Knight Returns. And then it's the same thing with Robin. I love that Nightwing flies a TIE fighter. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious.
Well, just the Batwing in this is a TIE fighter. Like 4 times we see it.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. But they do a lot with that episode where they play with the expectations. We see the Robin costume before we see Nightwing show up. And then a couple episodes before that, we actually see Robin playing a video game where he's using the old school Nightwing costume.
Yeah, the 90s.
Yeah.
It is legit, though, isn't it?
It is. I really like everything they do there. I'm not sure who the voice actor is for Nightwing, but I love him.
Yeah, Artifacts is a great episode. This is just like a really silly, small complaint, though. But so Batman must have had his jaw broken or something in between, this episode and the later parts of his career, because he goes from having like anime-style pointy chin to like Frank Miller jaw.
They in the middle of season 4 they changed his jaw and character design to look more like animated series because they were trying to bring in Robin and they were literally altering the show to look more like it. That's partly why the new Batmobile looks so much like the animated series one.
Yeah, stuff like that really does get annoying. I'm just like, guys, like, why was everyone complaining that it wasn't the animated series? It was its own thing.
And for the most part, why would they want it?
Yeah, why would they want it to be more like the thing that they love? At that point, it's just a pale imitation. And actually, that gets into my other thing with this. So I really like Artifacts. Artifacts, one of my favorite episodes, obviously. I still hate this show's Mr. Freeze.
I like him a lot in this episode.
In this episode, I do like him, but I still hate this show's Mr. Freeze. His character design is interesting. I just don't think it makes any sense if you think about it for like 2 seconds. But, like, I just don't like that they go so far out of their way to make it nothing like the animated series Mr. Freeze, but in doing so, you come to the original problem with Mr. Freeze, which is that he's not interesting in the slightest.
See, that's kind of what I like about it. I like the fact that Mr. Freeze fancies himself as like this overly serious, amazing, interesting bad guy, and he's not. And Batman just takes him out every time. Like, I like that he's sort of worthless and thinks he isn't.
I don't know, my problem with him is, in this show, he's always trying to steal diamonds and like, at first, just because he wants to get rich, I'm like, but you have godlike ice powers. What are you going to do with money now? And then he's like, oh, well, I'm going to freeze Gotham. And I still don't know what the fuck his end game is.
That's fair.
He's going to turn Gotham into a frozen wasteland. You know what? People will move. That's all I can say. It's just people will move. Like, I don't even love living in Indiana because of our shitty winters. You think some motherfucker's gonna come up, start freezing everything 24/7, and I'm just gonna still be here? Was he gonna block off every highway?
That's absolutely fair. And then also, when you get to the later seasons, this is a universe filled with superheroes. Not everyone's gonna take that.
Yeah, I really don't like their Mr. Freeze, but he is great in Artifacts. It works, and like it works because Batman points out how stupid he is.
Yeah.
He's like, all of this for a diamond? You're still just a jewel thief after all this time. I really like that about that.
Yeah, no, I love that stuff. I love pretty much everything about Artifacts. I even like the ending that there's a ton of Batmans, and they take out Freeze 1,000 years into the future. I think that's really interesting. And Morrison plays with that later with Batman Incorporated, the same sort of idea.
Yeah.
I like all of that.
Yeah, just Legacy Batman's always really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, I really, really like this episode. You were saying something about the Oracle thing, though, earlier when we brought her up?
What was I gonna say?
Something about the tone.
Yeah. So, what I think is interesting, just thinking about the Oracle thing, is clearly this Joker has kind of lost it, but he's not the same kind of homicidal maniac that you get in the comics, and he's also not the playful one in the animated series. So there's like this weird middle ground that he dances around, where it's almost like you don't want to make anything his fault because he's just so gone. I wonder if in this universe we ever got a Killing Joke story where he hurts Barbara Gordon and she gets paralyzed, but he didn't do it on purpose.
See, I can't buy that, especially with how, like, crazy he starts to go with getting his own sidekicks in this series.
Right.
Getting his own partners and sidekicks, because first he gets Punch and Judy, then he gets tired of them.
Which is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, he gets tired of Punch and Judy, and then he gets his dogs, or hyenas, whatever, but then he gets tired of, like, he can't, they won't do what he tells them to, so he gets annoyed with that, and then he gets Harley Quinn, and the Harley Quinn episode, worst episode of this entire show, but then he gets Harley Quinn, so I like the idea that he's getting tired of trying to go out, and then there's also the Joker's sidekick, where it's Prank.
Yeah.
So he does so much to try to keep up with Batman on having, you know, his own personal army, and at a certain point I could honestly believe that we could get Killing Joke in this, where he just gets tired of trying to keep up with Batman on sidekicks, so he starts trying to take him out. I honestly think you could use that to build into Death of a Robin and Oracle.
You could also make a good version of Death of the Family that way, where Joker's like, we used to have fun, but now you've got all these people around you.
Yeah, a version that doesn't suck.
Exactly, a version that's good. I mean, I like Snyder more than you do, but I do hate Death of the Family.
And it would be with a Joker that's actually funny.
Really funny, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Artifacts as well. I left that one off my list purposely because I knew you were going to pick it, and it's a great episode.
It is. I adore Artifacts. And there's very little for me to complain about with that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, even though I don't like their Mr. Freeze, this is the exception to that rule. And I don't know, I like the idea that, you know, it's such a brilliant thing with the binary, because I keep wondering, okay, there's no way they're going to get that computer working. So how is it going to be that Batman saves future Gotham? And I love that he thinks that far ahead to, I don't know how the fuck he did it. I guess Robin and Batgirl just work their fucking fingers to the bone, scraping that into the titanium. But it's really cool that he puts all the binary into the titanium. Or maybe, I don't know, Superman's in this universe, maybe he had him come over and help out.
That's what I was thinking, is like Superman just shows up, super speed, laser everything in.
Yeah, that could work. I really, really adore that about this episode. It's so perfect.
Yeah, just tonally, it's kind of what I'd like Batman to be in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm. It borrows from Dark Knight Returns, but, like, importantly, it does its own thing. Because I love Dark Knight Returns, but I do feel like things are trying too hard to be in that tone and write a Batman that's capable of the things in Dark Knight Returns without... I like people writing a Batman that's capable of the things in Dark Knight Returns, but I don't think that you have to go full-on Frank Miller characterization of Dark Knight Returns, because part of the whole point of that story is it's a Batman that's come back and is more extreme and is crazy.
Yeah, like, this is a different thing. This is just Batman's getting older. It's not post-apocalyptic, it's not he's broken, it's not that he retired and came back, it's none of that. It's just physically he can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I really, really appreciated that about this. And, like, he has that whole thing with Nightwing, where Nightwing's like, you want to sit this one out, let me take care of it? And he goes, I'll sit it out when the mission is over.
Yeah.
I love, we both know the mission will never be over. I love that dynamic, because that is Batman. Batman dies. That's the end of the story of Batman, is Batman dies fighting. And I love that about it.
I wish because this is another one of those universes where, like, if Batman ends up dying, you could have just had Nightwing be Batman and continued the show.
Yeah,
I would have loved to see that with this cast in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would progressively get darker. That's kind of what happened for the most part before we switched over to the Brave and the Bold style.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, really good stuff. Okay, well, how about you?
All right, so my number 2 is, I guess we're on number, 4 on our list technically?
I don't know,
Steve.
Okay,
I lost track. Whatever. It's I'm pretty sure you're not gonna have this one on your list. This is just because I love Robin. It's my number 2 is A Matter of Family.
Oh, okay, the Robin origin.
Yeah, the Robin origin episode. I remember when this show was first airing because I watched it as it aired all the way through. And I remember the summer when season 3 ended, and then when I went on to, at that point, the Kids WB website, there was this teaser image of Batman and Robin in this show's style with no information whatsoever. There was just a teaser image of Batman and Robin. So I spent like a year waiting for this season to come out and get to this episode, so much so that back in that day, I taped it with a VHS.
Ooh, ancient technology.
Exactly, ancient technology. It was really exciting to finally get Robin in this universe, particularly because at that point I didn't like Robin on Teen Titans. We hadn't had animated series for a while. I wasn't a fan of Jason Todd in New Adventures of Batman. Fuck everyone, he's Jason Todd, he's not Tim Drake. So getting a Robin origin again after all those years was particularly exciting, and I think that nostalgia just never died. Because it's not a particularly good episode. It's really by the numbers. It's one of the most generic Robin origins ever, but I love it.
Oh, the emotion is totally what works for it in this. And Steve, this is going to surprise you because I really don't care for Robin in this show overall, but Matter of Family was on my possible list. Like, if I had made a top 10 list of my own, it would have been there.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree the plot of it is pretty basic, but it's the emotion. They just totally sell it. I love that. And also we see that Robin's a smart kid that actually could potentially be, useful before he gets adopted or before his parents die or whatever. Because there's that moment where they're trying to extort the Graysons, and Robin and Dick Grayson comes and stands up between the bully and his dad or whatever, and he goes, "What are you gonna do? I already called 911 5 minutes ago." And then Batman shows up. It's totally legit.
Yeah, I like that too. Batman and Robin have a dynamic from the very first moment that they're on screen together, and I love that. Mm-hmm. The kid who voices Dick Grayson's really good. And I think he is actually a kid, because one of the things we didn't mention when we talked about JLA Titans is that they got like a 9-year-old to voice Damian from the beginning. And
oh, wow, that's really impressive.
It is, and he's not good to begin with, and he slowly gets better over time. This kid nails it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I really, really enjoy this episode, and I feel like this Robin gets a little annoying over time. I feel the same way with Batgirl. They get just kind of annoying and too jokey.
That's fair.
But I do really like both of their intros are great.
Yeah, Batgirl Begins was a runner-up on my list.
Yeah, it's really, really cool stuff. I quite enjoy those episodes where they're introduced, and even I really like Breakout, and they're handled really well in that. I like that moment in Breakout where they're making fun of what Black Mask looks like under the mask. It's brilliant. And in this, it's all the emotion of A Matter of Family that totally works. So the way in which he finds out Bruce Wayne is Batman, the way in which he wants to be a part of it too, and how he doesn't want to kill him. I love this episode.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's really good. It's one that I rewatch occasionally, just like Robin's Reckoning from animated series. Just out of context, I think it works.
Cool. Okay, for me. We're going to go to my number 2 now, which is Riddled.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
Yeah, I love this episode. This version of Riddler, once again, character design notwithstanding, because if they ever made a live-action The Batman series, then they have to get Marilyn Manson to play the Riddler.
Which would be awesome, but...
if you say so.
I don't know, I think it'd be kind of awesome.
I don't know. I don't really care for his character design, but the way in which they write the character in this series...
It's great.
Perfect. Tops the animated series Riddler. Like, the animated series Riddler is this Riddler's bitch.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. This is the kind of hybrid between comic book Riddler and the Riddle Me That Riddler, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that it's all just, there's no explosives, it's all just gelatin, I love that there's actually riddles mixed in with puzzles. I like the idea that there's always a riddle as a part of the element, but you need to go a bit grander so you can actually involve puzzles and all that other stuff, because I don't think anyone's ever going to use the puzzler again. And importantly, puzzles and brain teasers and stuff like that are all, encompassed within the idea of a riddle. It's something to tax your mind and make you think outside the box.
Right.
And so that all works really well here. I love that, Yin is sitting there playing an organ and she hits the wrong key on a piano, damn near gets dropped on her. Just stuff like that. It totally works. But the most important thing, the thing that I think totally works and just makes Riddler for an excellent movie villain is that you can have your character go do all these really cool, action-y, suspense things, and then have it all work into the plot and just have him dropping riddles within riddles to reveal his actual plan.
Right.
I adore the way that's done in this.
It's mapped out really well, and I especially like the ending of it where the final riddle in Batman's just like he got bored.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Riddler's Revenge?
That's the one where we get his origin.
Yeah, where he's like trapped in the crate with Batman.
Yeah, that one's okay. I like things about it. It's got a lot of Robin in it, and I feel like that's really weird because I don't understand why Robin is the only one that can go out to the sea and save Batman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's Alfred's job.
Yeah, that's fair. I was just curious because that origin for the character I like more than If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich?
Oh, totally. I agree with you there. I like that he's betrayed because he's blinded by lust or love or whatever.
Yeah.
I really like that. There's a lot of things I do like about that episode, and I like that there's the one thing that bothers me about it is he's kind of abandoning his own gimmick by he has the guy tied up and he gives him the riddle, but he has him gagged so he can't answer. Like, I don't like that. He has to actually give them a chance. That's the thing about the Riddler that always bugs me when people just have him say the riddle, but it doesn't really matter whether or not they get the answer right.
Right.
That kind of irks me a little bit, but I really, really like what he does with what they do with Riddler in this series, and his intro episode is just awesome.
It is. It's great. I even like the later episode where him, Penguin, and Joker are battling out for Gotham City.
Yeah, that's like just, is that the beginning of season 3?
That's the end of season 2, I think.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That is a really fun one. It works really well, and he's pretty much the mastermind of that episode, too.
He is, yeah.
Penguin and Joker are just kind of there, whereas Riddler's the one that makes everything happen.
He's always kind of in control of every situation. I think next to Joker and Hugo Strange, he is one of the most consistently written characters on the show.
Yeah, I think it's smart that they didn't use him too much as well, because he only gets like 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that was really, really smart of them, and he works really well every time they use him.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of gravitas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Steve, what about you?
All right, so I think we're on to our number ones, right?
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Oh, honorable mention, okay. Honorable mention, I'm going to go ahead and give to Vertigo, the Green Arrow episode.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a short from the DC animated films later with Green Arrow and Count Vertigo, which is incredible, and I love everything about it. And this is just kind of a 22-minute version of that, where we don't get too much with Green Arrow's politics, but they're kind of there because Bruce Wayne and Oliver Queen don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. The voice acting's really good. Green Arrow looks like comic book Green Arrow, which sounds minor, but it's massively important now that comic book Green Arrow doesn't look like comic book Green Arrow. I like most of the stuff he does there. I like that he's so pedestrian compared to what the usual Oliver Queen is. Like, his costume is not particularly fancy. His trick arrows aren't particularly fancy. He's just kind of an average dude with lots of money. And he is in it for the thrill. And I like that him and Robin have the opposite relationship that Robin and Green Lantern do, where Robin just thinks this guy is kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly the kind of relationship any Robin would have with Green Arrow, unless maybe Dick Grayson, because he's a little bit older in the comics, not this version. I like a lot of things about it. I think it's a lot of fun, and we have so little good Green Arrow these days that whenever I see it, I just get excited.
Fair enough. That episode I just thought was okay. The Brave and the Bold thing is a little
hit and miss.
Yeah. And yeah, I like things about that episode though. I still don't get why Green Arrow at that point didn't know Bruce Wayne was Batman. I just feel like
from the opening or the end of the previous season that everyone knew who everyone was, but then this season is like, no, they don't, and they just slowly reveal it.
Yeah, that was weird, and like with the Flash episode too.
Yeah,
it's a really odd one, but it's okay.
I always kind of liked when superheroes are in costume and they're just using each other's first names. I wish we'd do more of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so I mentioned my honorable mention earlier, but now I had to change it because of that, because it was on Steve's list. So mine, I've got 3 here, and they're all really, really good. I've talked so much about the Joker in this. I'll just go for something that I haven't talked about at all, and that's the Q&A episode.
I love that one.
Yeah,
so
Quizmaster, that's a really, really fun, really cool episode. I really enjoy that moment where, he puts Batman on the game show. He's like, you could ask me anything. Batman's like, anything? Yes. Current events? Of course. Who's the Batman? That's like such a Batman moment. That's my kind of Batman writing right there.
It's fantastic. I also love his quips in that episode where he takes out a chess piece and he's like, knight takes bishop. Yeah,
it's just I love when he does stuff like that. And this was back when Adam West was voicing the mayor of Gotham and stuff too. So there's just like you said earlier, there's a lot of Silver Age in this. That's a lot of fun to watch.
I agree.
And just Quizmaster looks so disgusting. I'm not sure where he found a bunch of ninja midgets, but it's one of those things. It's like Silver Age, so what can you do?
He put out an ad in the paper.
They show a picture with him around like a football team of like really stocky, buff midgets, and I'm just like, how does that explain anything? It's a really odd one, but yeah, I really do enjoy the game, the Q&A episodes. Just a lot of fun to watch, and it's totally it's got some of my favorite Batman like moment kind of writing in that too.
Yeah, I agree. I like a lot of stuff about it. I think the other thing we should mention is that I really like the episode titles for most of this show. The Bad episode is called "The Man Who Would Be Bat."
Oh yeah, I love that. I like their Man-Bat quite a bit too.
I like him too. He's a lot of fun. The episode we mentioned earlier with Riddler, Joker, and Penguin's called Night in the City. There's just a lot of fun episode titles sprinkled throughout this.
Yeah. Just a really good show overall. Okay, Steve, what's your number 1 then?
Okay. I think I know what your number 1 is, which is why I'm not going to say it, but if you don't say it, we'll mention it later. My number 1 episode is Gotham's Ultimate Criminal Mastermind.
Oh, where Batman versus HAL 9000.
Yes, Batman versus Hardak, except it doesn't suck. I love this episode. I think it's really smart. I love everything about Dave. I like how much of this is Hugo Strange's plan, and I like that this version of Hugo Strange is the one I like from the comics, the one where he's every bit as smart and well-trained and calculating as Batman, but he can't physically do the things Batman does, so he's always going out and using his mind to infect other things that can compensate for that. I like that Dave is able to figure out Bruce Wayne's identity just by using a big database. It got into those big data ethics questions earlier than we were talking about them in real life, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's like I don't even think they realized they were doing that. I just think that they thought it'd be a cool way to get to that answer.
Yeah, clearly they weren't thinking about it that way, but then, you look at some of these episodes that deal with computers, and they all sort of have that theme.
Except for the Metal Face of Comedy, which is just stupid.
Yes, that one. Aside from that one, but even the Everywhere Man episode, some of the stuff with Green Arrow, a lot of those episodes have that sort of, we're doing this because of big data. Riddler's whole plan is big data. I think that's really fun integrated well. This is one of those episodes where the comedy and the darkness bounce off of each other really well.
Certainly.
And there's lots of, and particularly with the way that Dave is voiced, where like he's got almost the Bane sort of high-pitched, fun, optimistic voice, despite being murderous and horrifying.
Who voiced him? Because I recognize that voice, I swear.
It's Jeff Bennett, who's the guy that does Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat. He does one of the Dexters in Dexter's Laboratory Ego Trip.
He did Johnny Bravo?
Maybe.
What?
Oh, I didn't know he did Johnny Bravo. That's interesting.
I'm just on his IMDb.
Okay. He did some extras here and there. Trying to find something bigger that I think I would know. I know him from. He's in basically everything I've seen at some point or another.
Yeah, it looks that way.
He was Hardak.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So they brought back Hardak to make Hardak not suck. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a really big voice actor. He's in a lot of stuff.
He's Dexter's dad.
Oh, that's what that's the thing I recognize him for the most.
Yeah, he's Dexter's dad. I didn't realize that.
Huh. Yeah, I really like his approach to it. Just this villain that Batman cannot possibly go up against. And there's also, like, they don't bring this up at all, but there's also just an interesting thing about what does Batman define as life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's probably the biggest question in philosophy. Pardon us for getting into this, everybody. That's probably the biggest question in philosophy of the last, century is, can machines think?
Yeah.
And, it's a more interesting question possibly in real life than it is in fiction, but once you have a machine that can think, how does Batman not consider it life, and why is he comfortable with killing it?
And also, just how does Batman define death, and under what circumstances is he actually killing anything? Is it just having sentience, or is it having remorse or emotion?
Certainly. Bill, one of the first conversations Bill and I ever had is, what if Godzilla attacked Gotham, and, Batman would be ready to just kill him, and Bill's pitch was he'd be ready to just kill him until he looks at his eyes, and then realizes there's intelligence there. And that's a really fascinating idea, too.
That's one of the only things I like about the recent Godzilla movie, where it's like Godzilla is nature's check on humanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that there's a mind behind it. It's not just, a stupid lizard.
Yeah, like, it's not just like he's being provoked to do certain things. It's that he's consciously making choices to create equilibrium.
Yeah, and so just generally what Batman considers to be a life is really fascinating to me as well.
Yeah, I agree. They do that in this episode. They do that a little bit with Rumor as well. Yeah,
I like that everyone deserves to live, not even if they're a criminal. I just finished reading Batman Arkham Manor, and that has a really good character arc for Batman dealing with that issue, too, where, there's a murderer in the new Arkham Asylum, which is now Wayne Manor. And so he puts himself in Arkham Asylum to find the killer, and then once he does, there's this great little monologue about they're going to know that they're safe because this is my house. They're going to know I'm going to protect them just like I would everyone else.
Right.
I really like that about it.
That's great.
And so in Dave, whatever, I really do like Dave's whole thing. He sets up the sadistic choice because he is programmed to be the ultimate villain. And then, once again, I love the way Batman beats him, man.
He's a really clever Batman. Early on, he was just kind of dull. Like, he was sort of like the airhead Batman. But over time, he really became a smart detective on his own.
Yeah, and so he has those moments, those brilliant last minute thought moments that totally work for him. I really, really love that whole. I really, really love that the way he beats him is if you're such a great villain, then what's your origin? Because every great villain needs a great origin. He goes, well, I was dumped into a vat of chemicals. That's the Joker. I'm stealing back my family fortune. That's Penguin.
Yeah.
Was cryogenically frozen. Freeze. You're a computer program. No! I love it.
I think that that's great, yeah. And this is one of those cases where, like animated series, it's only 22 minutes, but it feels so much longer than that.
Certainly. And, Batman comes up against him like 2 or 3 times, and he gets bested every single time.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go on to my number 1 then. So I'm going to shock you, Steve.
Hooray!
My number 1 is the time travel. No, I'm kidding. It's not the time travel episode.
I thought you were going to put... Oh, that would have been hilarious if you put that.
No. That episode's so ass. It's a really good concept, but it's so bad.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So I like his whole thing. The one thing I will give that episode is I like his whole thing about he'll reverse time to have a more clever clip. Anyway, so no, unsurprisingly, as much as I love the Joker from this series, my favorite episode is The Laughing Bat.
Nice. Okay.
It is, hands down, undeniably, the best episode of the entire show.
I absolutely agree. I knew you were going to pick it, so I switched mine out. It's one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. It's a lot better than Laughing Fish, both the comic and the episode.
Oh, it's one of the greatest Joker stories of all time.
It's remarkable. I love everything about it. It's another one of those episodes where like the darkness and the comedy play off of each other so well. Like when you get that scene where Batman or Joker Batman is talking to the mayor and he's talking about his wife and he says 11 items and a 10-item checkout. She had it coming, and then you see her face.
And then and it gets really, really dark humor too when Bruce Wayne is at the hospital and he can't stop laughing, and he sees the mayor's wife again and he's laughing his guts out at it, and it even alright, so that's kind of messed up, but you realize he's breaking and it's a really awkward situation. It gets even worse as he runs out of the hospital because he sees the nurse pushing a guy in a wheelchair and he laughs at him.
Yeah,
and that's freaking great.
It is. It's so funny. There's a great moment where Joker Batman shows up in front of Penguin and he has this speech about being Batman, and Penguin's like, "See, the thing about that is you're not."
Oh my god! And then it's right before their first fight as Joker Batman and Batman. There's a girl drawing chalk on the sidewalk, and he goes, "Graffiti. That's a very serious offense. The reason I became a crime fighter was to take down scum like you."
I also love his costume, that he's still barefoot.
Yeah. Dude, you don't know how much I love this episode. I did a cosplay based off of that idea of Joker dressing up as Batman.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got Batman underwear and put them on over black jeans and got a yellow belt with a Batman symbol belt buckle and put that on, and I had a bat symbol shirt and just really long opera gloves that I cheaply sewed little foam cutouts to make the little spiky things on Batman's gloves, and oh man, and I did the makeup underneath a really shitty Batman cape with a even shittier 5-year-old Halloween mask for Batman. I had so much fun with that. I had a coat hanger as my Batarang. It was so freaking funny to do that one. It was I wore that when they first did the New 52 launch, and a lot of comic book stores had midnight sales of the books. My store was doing a cosplay party thing, and I came dressed as that. It was so much fun to do, and I love that idea, everything conceptually about the Joker, trying to just push himself to be better and better than Batman, and then just go, you know what, the only way I can be better than Batman is to be Batman.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's fantastic. It cashes in more on that relationship of this Batman and Joker just kind of playing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. It is also my favorite episode. I think it's fantastic.
Oh, it's hands down one of the best the best episode of the series. One of the best episodes of Batman and Joker in animation.
Yeah.
I will watch this episode before, if it's between this or any episode of the animated series, I'd rather watch this.
I agree with you. I think it's remarkable. It's one of my favorite things. It's such a novel idea. I can't believe we haven't done this before.
Yeah, there's one comic book I bought it just because of the cover. It's actually from the Justice League Unlimited comic series they were doing for a while.
Oh, okay. I never read any of those.
Yeah, they don't. There's a cover of like the Mark Hamill style Joker. Once they went to a better design than New Batman Adventures, there's a cover of him running around with Batman's cape and cowl on his head, and Harley's following him, and there's Justice League members chasing him, and it's one of those occasions where I'll buy something just for that cover.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really, really neat, novel idea, and yeah, I cannot believe we've never done it before. But importantly, we've come close, right?
Yeah.
Because, I have Stacked Deck, the greatest Joker stories ever told, and they have, the Joker's utility belt. And so it's just finally addressing something that's been going on with the Joker for years and years. And once again, Scott Snyder, take notes. Because, that's what his whole thing was, is, oh, well, you keep pushing me, and so I have to make myself into a god just to be a god next to you. And, yeah, sure, but can we keep him as the same character by doing that? And this is that. This is the Joker pushing himself to be better and more, to be better and better than Batman, and then realizing that the only way to do that is to still be Batman.
Yeah.
I love that. So, Joker could almost be a member of Batman Inc. at that point, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's genius. It's so much more layered than I ever thought it was until I started rewatching this season.
Oh, totally. And, this is, Cap, Admiral Logan, sorry. I gotta call you Captain Baxi now. I'm not gonna be used to that.
We've made it so that Admiral Logan's first name is Captain, so he's Admiral Captain Logan. So you can still call him Cap.
Well, then, is anyone on Geekvolution gonna be named Major?
Probably Manos at some point. He is Dr. the Real Manos, so...
Yeah. That's a Catch-22 reference for you. Anyway, there's a character called Major.
That's a really good book. Anyway.
Yeah. So no, I love things about this. It so works for me. But no, Cap I remember Cap used to really not like this series, and my whole thing with it has always been, it is like Smallville, but for Batman. So there are really bad episodes, but when they get it right, they get it so right. And this is the episode I always point people to. Yeah. Just watch this, because it is the best episode of the series, but not so much so that everything else is downhill from there.
Yeah, it's not a massive leap in quality. It's still consistent.
Yeah, that's what I really love about it. It is hands down the best episode, but it just shows you how much this show can do right. Yeah,
and it's another good example of what the tone and style of this show was versus animated series, because it has more fun with itself than that show ever allowed itself to.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And even, not to be too hard on that, because that had its moments, like when he's on the invisible car. I didn't know he could fly.
Yeah. No, animated series is great and all. For me at least, I think this is a better show ultimately.
Fair enough. I still think the animated series is overall a better show. It's certainly a much more important show. But this gets way too negative a rap because it still is really, really well done.
Yeah. I guess before we wrap up, I am on the Wikipedia page. Apparently, Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, voiced the Riddler.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I thought you were about to say that he voiced Ragdoll, because that guy's fucking creepy.
Ragdoll is awesome. I love the Ragdoll episode.
Yeah, he's cool. I remember I tweeted this at one point, but if they ever make an anime, instead of doing Gotham Knight again, if they ever do another anime and Batman crossover, make Ragdoll the villain.
Yeah.
That'd be so fucking perfect for that whole Japanese art style thing, because they're so good at just really creepy visual shit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And have Gail Simone write it, because she writes a hilarious Ragdoll.
Oh, totally. All right. That'll do it for our top 10. I literally have to leave for work in 5 minutes, so we wrap this up in perfect time.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, everyone, thank you very much for watching, though. This is a lot of fun, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for having me do this with you. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Politician.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.